question from Cambridge.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My question's to the Premier. Premier, this whole ordeal started when we asked some simple questions in the Estimates Committee almost a year ago. We asked, how much do the cancellation of these 2 power plants cost? You gave no answer. We asked where in the government's estimates were these costs located, and you gave no answer. We asked where in the budget were these costs located. Again, Mr. Speaker, they gave no answer. Despite all the documents you've given us, we're only looking for 2. How much did Oakville cost, and how much did the cancellation of Mississauga cost? Premier, will you provide these documents today, or will you continue to conceal the truth from the people of Ontario?
The member will withdraw.
I withdraw, Mr. Speaker.
Speaker, and I'm happy to respond to the member opposite, and I'm happy to respond because I have done and we have done everything in our power, Mr. Speaker, to make sure that all the information is available, that all the questions that have been asked and continue to be asked are being answered, Mr. Speaker. We have asked the Auditor General to look into both these situations. We've called for an expansion of the committee so that the committee could ask questions on the full range of issues, Mr. Speaker. And I've agreed to appear at the committee. Mr. Speaker, we have made it clear that we want the questions to be answered. I really would think that the member opposite who was integrally involved in asking these questions initially would see that there is an opportunity, and that opportunity is ongoing at the committee to get those questions answered.
Thank you. Supplementary.
Well, Mr. Speaker, the opportunity to answer the questions that I asked happened in May 2012 in the Estimates Committee, and we still don't have those answers. Back to the Premier. David Livingstone testified this morning that during his handling of the gas plant scandal at Infrastructure Ontario, there were many details of which he was not aware. Important details, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Livingstone had no knowledge of the $1.2 billion maximum settlement figure brought forth by that government.
Environment, come to order.
Mr. Livingstone had no knowledge that an offer of $712 million was made to TransCanada. Mr. Livingstone also could not say for sure whether he took notes at meetings overseeing the cancellation of $1 billion power plant cancellation. This, Mr. Speaker, is a case of bureaucrats gone wild. I've never negotiated a $1 billion power plant deal, but if I had, I probably would bring a legal pad and a few big pens, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, why was the man the people of Ontario trusted to oversee these political cancellations so unprepared for his responsibilities?
Government House Leader.
Again, Mr. Speaker, these drive-by smears are unacceptable. Mr. Livingston, Tiffany Turnbull, they're witnesses, Mr. Speaker. They called them before the committee, and under oath they answer questions to the best of their ability, and because they don't like the answers, they're taking it out on them. Mr. Speaker, these people are deserving of our respect. But more importantly, Mr. Speaker, I think it's time that we look again at the facts of the situation. We offered to provide them a government-wide deposit of documents in the gas plants, and Mr. Speaker, they voted against it, a fact that was confirmed by the chair this morning. Mr. Speaker, we offered them a select committee on this matter, and instead they wanted to engage in a witch hunt on a former member of this legislature. Mr. Speaker, if there's transparency that's needed in this issue, it's from the Progressive Conservative Party.
Final supplementary.
Well, Mr. Speaker, the only reason why we have answers to any questions is because we continue to pursue these things in this House and in committee. Fast forward to a year later. David Livingstone, now the Chief of Staff to Premier Dalton McGuinty, is now tasked with concealing the truth from Ontarians. He testified today that he was not shown the Memorandum of Understanding signed by that government. He said that the Premier's office was not shown the Memorandum of Understanding signed by that government. Are we to believe that the Premier of Ontario was not consulted on an $800 million decision? The current Premier stood in this House and said that it only cost $40 million, Mr. Speaker. The former Premier told the Toronto Star that the total cost was $40 million. Who allowed both premiers to make mistakes, and why didn't anyone bother to pick up the Memorandum of Understanding, read it, and tell them so, Mr. Speaker?
Thank you.
Mr. Speaker, we are talking about an individual, a fine public servant who is now in private sector, who appeared in committee this morning and answer questions under oath. I cannot help it, Mr. Speaker, that their strategy is failing and that they are calling witness after witness after witness who does not support their position. Mr. Speaker, again, let's review the facts. They opposed the gas plant. We came into power. We followed up with it, and they screamed bloody murder. Mr. Speaker, we offered them a select committee, and instead they wanted a witch hunt against a private member. We offered to give them every document in government, and they voted against it. Mr. Speaker, they have had more positions on the gas plant issue than the Kama Sutra over the past couple of months, and I think it's time that they came clear on their position in this matter.
Thank you.